Is this big bag of LeanFit Whey Isolate actually a good buy? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the very popular protein powder by LeanFit, known as their Whey Isolate, as well as their Whey Protein Blend. I've been asked by a few of you to review this protein powder, but when I went into Costco the other day and I saw the giant wall of them, I thought this might be a good time to review their product. And I saw so many people standing in front of the giant wall of these protein powders that I thought it would probably be helpful if they actually had someone who could let them know if it's a good option. And I'm actually going to be reviewing two of their protein powders because they have two that are very popular at Costco. One is this bag here, which is their bluish purple bag. I'm going to call it the blue bag, and that is their Sport Whey Isolate. And I'm also going to be reviewing the white bag, which is their Whey Protein Blend. So you can know the differences between the two and if one of them, if any, are better to buy. But first, hi, my name is Katie. I'm a registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. My goal with this channel is to help you learn more about nutrition, fitness, and wellness so that you can be your best, whatever that looks like. I also love to do product reviews, so if you have any products or topics that you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments below. And with that, let's get started. Okay, so what is LeanFit? LeanFit is a Canadian supplement company that was founded by Richard Pierce in 2002, so it has been around for quite a while. And when Richard made this company, he wanted to make sure that consumers had different supplements that had ingredients that they could understand and trusted in taking. Their claim to fame is that they make products that are rooted in science and that their products don't contain any artificial flavors, colorings, or GMOs. And since their launch in 2002, they have come out with a lot of different products. Their protein powder definitely is their most popular, but when I was in Costco the other day, I even saw their creatine monohydrate, so they have expanded quite a bit. In today's video though, I'm going to be specifically talking about their two popular protein powders. Again, their Sport Whey Isolate, which is this one, as well as their Whey Protein Blend, which is the big white bag. So I just want to go over some quick terms before we get started. I want to go over a couple quick terms before we start, just because it will help you understand the video better. The first thing that's important is that there is a difference between whey isolate and whey concentrate. Whey protein itself is extracted from cow's milk during cheese production, yogurt production, and things like that. It's the liquid portion that comes out of that, and it is very high in protein, known as whey. And this whey protein is very high quality and digests very well. Now, on different protein powders, you're probably going to see whey isolate or whey concentrate, and it really comes down to its macronutrient composition, so it's protein, fats, and carbs, as well as its processing. So technically speaking, whey concentrate undergoes less processing because it doesn't remove as many of the components. So because of that, it's going to have more fat in it, as well as carbohydrates, mostly in the form of lactose, and therefore by default, it will have a little bit less protein per serving. That being said, the protein is still high quality. With whey isolate, it undergoes more processing, and the reason why is because they're getting rid of any extra components that aren't protein. So for example, fats, carbohydrates, especially lactose, and any other ingredients, and basically you're just left with an isolated form of whey protein, hence the name Whey Isolate. As a result, whey isolates are going to have more protein per serving and less lactose. So if you can remember those differences, this video is going to be a lot more helpful for you, and going forward when you're looking at protein powders in general, it will help you a lot. So now let's look at LeanFit whey protein ingredients. So if you're standing in Costco and you're looking at the white bag versus the blue bag, you may be wondering, what's the difference? They both say they're protein, so why are they different? Well, let's take a look at their ingredient lists. In their Sport Whey Isolate, you see that the main ingredient is whey isolate. In the Whey Protein Blend, you see that it has a protein blend of whey concentrate and whey isolate. So if you are looking for a pure whey isolate protein powder, then you would definitely want this one, which is the Sport Whey Isolate. If you don't care so much, then the white bag that has the blend is totally fine too. If we compare the nutrient labels, they are also different. So when we look at the nutrition label on the Sport Whey Isolate, we see that it has 150 calories, 0.0 grams of fat, it has 0 grams of sugar, 35 grams of protein, which is a lot, and 7.7 grams of branched chain amino acids. And branched chain amino acids are just simply the structure is kind of branched, but this is leucine, isoleucine, and valine, and they are very important for muscle building, particularly leucine. If we take a look at the Whey Protein Blend, so the white bag, it has 140 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, 2 grams of sugar, mostly coming from lactose, 24 grams of protein, which is still a high amount, just not as high as the Sport Whey Isolate, and 4.9 grams of branched chain amino acids. So per serving, you're definitely going to be getting more protein from the Sport Whey Isolate compared to the Whey Protein Blend. And this again makes sense because it is an isolate, it is isolated whey protein. So that's all really that's going to be in the product, therefore you're gonna get more. And you're also getting fewer grams of fat and less lactose. If we compare their amino acid profiles, there are differences here too. Like I mentioned, the main protein that we are looking for is leucine, which is a type of branched chain amino acid that's very important for muscle building. Ideally, we want a protein powder that has around 3 grams of leucine, give or take. So if we take a look at the Sport Whey Isolate, we see that it does have more leucine compared to the Whey Protein Blend. The Sport Whey Isolate has 3.73 grams of leucine, which is a lot, and the Whey Protein Blend has 2.28 grams of leucine, which is less than the Sport Whey Isolate. Still not a horrible amount, but definitely less. Now let's move on to the actual ingredients in the product beyond the protein content. In the Whey Protein Blend, we see that it has a blend of whey concentrate and whey isolate, which we already talked about. Then we see that it has xanthan gum, which is an emulsifier that a ton of protein powders do use. This is a very common ingredient, and the reason they add it is just to make sure that the product's consistency stays that way, and all of the ingredients kind of blend together really well. The product also has some salt, it also has some stevia, and stevia is a natural sweetener. It also has coconut oil powder that provides some medium chain triglycerides. Now, when it comes to this, it can either be for a few reasons. It can just help with the smoothness and consistency of the product. It also may be added as an additional source of energy. They don't really specify why, but usually those are the main reasons within protein powders. And then finally, they have an enzyme blend that consists of lipase, bromelain, and papain. Now, lipase is an enzyme that helps to break down lipids or fats, and this can help potentially decrease any risk of stomach upset. And then bromelain and papain are proteolytic enzymes that are found in papayas as well as pineapple. And proteolytic enzymes are enzymes that break down proteins. So this may help to further enhance digestibility of the proteins in this product. If we take a look at the Sport Whey Protein, we see that the main ingredient is Whey Protein Isolate, which makes sense. It also has xanthan gum. It has the same enzyme blend. It also has salt, and it also has stevia. The main difference here is that the product doesn't have whey concentrate, but it also doesn't have that coconut oil powder. When I'm comparing both of these protein powders to other protein powders on the market, I would say that these protein powders have very simple ingredient lists, and I really like to see that. When it comes to xanthan gum, this is sort of a controversial ingredient because some people argue that gums, especially in really high amounts in the diet, if someone, for example, is having a highly processed diet, could potentially lead to digestive problems over time. However, in the amount that's in this product, I'm not overly concerned about it, especially if you're not really having a highly processed diet in general. Xanthan gum is considered safe by most health authorities in the world. So for example, the FDA, Health Canada, the European Union, etc. Whether or not you decide to have products that contain xanthan gum is totally up to you. It is considered safe, but that's up to you, not me. If you want to know what xanthan gum is, it's just a product that is produced when you add a bacteria known as Xanthomonas to a carbohydrate, and it undergoes a fermentation process and produces this gum as a byproduct. And xanthan gum is added to make sure that the product stays together and is blended well, and it is tolerated by most people quite well. And it's a very, very popular ingredient in almost all protein powders. For sweeteners, they use stevia, which is a natural sweetener that is derived from the stevia plant. It is safe for consumption, and I would argue it is better than a lot of the artificial sweeteners out there. However, that's up to you again. I would say though that if you're trying to find a protein powder that doesn't have stevia in it, or at least some form of a sweetener, you're going to have a very hard time. They do exist, but it's pretty hard to find, and usually they don't taste that great. But overall, I would say that both of the ingredient lists, whether you have the Sport Whey Isolate or you have the Whey Protein Blend, both have pretty good ingredient lists, and I love the fact that they're very simple. On top of that, both products are Informed Choice certified, which is a third-party testing company that helps to ensure the quality and consistency of the product. While this is amazing, and I don't want to take away from the fact that they do third-party testing, I just want to point out that if you are a competitive athlete and you have to get testing done to make sure that you don't have any banned substances, this is not Informed Sport certified. And the only difference between Informed Sport certified and Informed Choice certified is how frequently the batches are tested. But for the average consumer, this is still really awesome to see. So now let's move on to which protein powder you should buy. Determining which protein powder you want to buy really comes down to your goals, your budget, and your preferences. If your goal is to put on a lot of muscle mass, then I would probably say that the Sport Whey Isolate is going to be the best option. And the reason why is because one, it has 35 grams of protein per serving, which is a lot and impressive, but it it also has a higher leucine content, which supports muscle protein synthesis, and it also has a higher amount of those other branched chain amino acids. But with that being said, the Whey Protein Blend still has 24 grams of protein, so it's not to say that it's not going to work at all. It actually probably will because it's in a high enough amount, and you're probably also getting protein from the rest of your diet, so you can definitely have the Whey Protein Blend and still put on muscle. But all in all, I would say that both protein powders are good options. Obviously, the Sport Whey Isolate, for the purpose of building muscle and just having a higher protein source in general, is technically the better option, but both would be ones that I would be more than comfortable recommending to people. That being said, if you are lactose intolerant, that is something you may want to consider. If you are lactose intolerant, the Sport Whey Isolate is going to have less lactose compared to the Whey Protein Blend, so if you're really sensitive to lactose, maybe get this one. Another thing to consider is the cost. Now, generally speaking, because of the processing involved, Whey Isolate is typically more expensive than a whey concentrate. When I bought the Sport Whey Isolate at Costco, it was $69.99. It was on sale, $15 off, but the general price is $69.99 for a 2.7 kilogram bag. So that big bag right there. Now, considering each serving is 40 grams, if we do the math, this equates to about 67.5 servings per bag. So it provides quite a bit. And if we do the math on that, that's about $1.04 Canadian per serving, which is a really good price for protein powder. For the Whey Protein Blend, it was a little bit cheaper, and it does come in a slightly smaller bag at 2 kilograms. The price was $59.99, and it had an average serving size of about 33 grams. So roughly speaking, if you were to have the whole bag, this provides about 60 servings. And if we do the math on that, compared to the price, it's about 99 cents per serving, which is again a really awesome price for a protein powder. But based on this price comparison, $1.04 for the Sport Whey Isolate versus 99 cents for the Whey Protein Blend, it's not that big of a difference. It's a 5-cent difference between the two. So I would argue that they're virtually the same price. They're pretty much the same price. It's just that one is slightly smaller in size, so it's slightly lower in cost, versus the one that's slightly larger in size, so it's a little bit higher. But per serving, it's pretty much the same price. So really just pick the one that you want. Okay, so now let's talk about my personal experience. If you've ever watched my other videos, you'll know that I'm actually not a big fan of protein powders. I think they taste bad. I think that the texture's bad, and I'm just not a big fan. You'll also know that I'm not a huge vanilla fan. Unfortunately, at Costco, they only had vanilla, so I kind of had to just bite the bullet and buy it anyway. Now here's the thing, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how much I actually liked it. The consistency is great. I didn't find any clumping or issues with mixing it, at least in my shaker. And the liquid I used was a combination of just regular milk and water. When it comes to the flavor, I thought the flavor was really nice. Again, I'm not a huge fan of vanilla, but I really liked it. And it's probably one of the best protein powders I've tried so far. Now just remember, my personal preferences might be different from yours, so I might like it and you might hate it. So that's why it's challenging to talk about taste preferences, but that's my personal experience. If they had the chocolate flavor available, which they do have on their website, and they do have on the Costco website, they just didn't have it in store, I probably would have picked that one. But the vanilla one is probably what most people would buy just because it's easier to mix with other things such as a smoothie. So do I recommend LeanFit protein powder? I think that LeanFit did a really good job with both of their protein powders, and it is one that I would recommend. It comes at a really affordable price, especially if you buy it at Costco. It comes in a really large bag. It's third-party tested. They have really awesome protein amounts per serving for both of them. But of course, the Sport Whey Isolate has more protein than the Whey Protein Blend that's in the white bag, so keep that in mind. I like that they don't have a ton of extra unnecessary ingredients, and the flavor was really nice, at least in my opinion. So if you are considering getting the LeanFit protein powders, I would say that both of them are pretty good options. If I had to pick which one I would buy over the other, I would probably go with the Sport Whey Isolate, just because you're getting more for the same price. You're getting a higher dose of protein, and you're getting a higher amount of those branched chain amino acids that are important for muscle building. But if you don't want 35 grams of protein per serving, which is a lot for some people, then you might want to go with the Whey Protein Blend, because it's still a great option. It has a little bit less protein, so it's not so much, and it's at pretty much the same price. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any other products or topics that you want me to cover. And if you do like this video, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Your support helps me grow my channel and reach more people like you. And I'll see you in the next video.